Greetings, family. Welcome to back again to a part two of March the 7th, 2026, UB2B. This is the bank story. Kick back, relax. I'd get a pencil and paper if I was you, because there may be some points here that you might want to capitalize on. Please enjoy.
Are going to be jumping up and down because aside from that one woman that has an account many years ago in Westchester County, New York, there were no New York stories.
So you said you think that people from New York are going to be jumping up and down to hear your story. Well, I'm going to be quiet, and you just kick back, relax, take your time now, and tell us the whole story from the beginning all the way through. Because you know how valuable these bank stories are. It fills people with hope, but it also gives them the desire, the energy, you know, what do go ahead, say again, the what?
The gumption to get up.
You know, that's exactly the word I was trying to come up with, but I couldn't get it out. That's exactly the word. Thank you. Okay, the floor is yours. Go right ahead.
Okay. So yesterday I walked into my local Chase Bank in Comac, Long Island to open up a checking account. Now, I opened up a savings account there the first week that they opened this new location. And it was a big bank, and that was back in September. So I dealt with the new account rep, and I told him about my speculative investments with currencies. He had no knowledge, but I explained to him that I'm in this since 2012, 2013, and I hold a considerable amount of dinar, dong, and the Venezuelan currencies.
Okay.
So I asked him if he knew if this location, because it's a big brand new location, will be having the currency counting authenticating machines, such as the Delarue and the Pitney Bowes, so on and so forth. So he said, I'm not aware of it, but we're just open a week. So I said, okay. But he was interested to find out more. So he wanted me to set up an online account. And I declined. I said, I won't be using general banking practices. I will be solely with the private banker.
Brilliant.
And his
well
eyes
said.
got
said.
huge. I mean, the guy, he couldn't contain himself. I think if he had a diaper, he'd come in good use at that point.
He realized you knew what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Continue.
So, but he had no idea about the currencies. None, well, at least that he let on. Because he was asking me a lot of questions, which led me to believe he had no knowledge of it.
Did he ever find out that it was dinars?
I'll get into that.
Good. Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
He said to me, well, we do currencies here, but what currencies do you have? So I said, well, I have the dinar, I have the dong, the Venezuela currencies, and I said, it's well over 50 million. And he goes, wow. He says, so after, we wrapped up everything, and he said, can I call you in a few weeks to check on the status? And I said, yes, sure. So he walked over to the wealth manager, and I guess they were talking about me because they were both looking at me with big smiles on their face. So now, yesterday, I go back to that branch. Now, they're only open since September. Because I wanted to see him, I wanted to open up a checking account because I had a large deposit. So I went in, and a gentleman walked over to me, and he said, can I help you? So I said, yeah, is so-and-so here? No, he's out today. He said, but I'm the branch manager, and, maybe I can help you. So I said, yes, I want to open up a checking account. And he said, okay. And he took me in his office, and he left the door. Now, they're big glass cubicles, so you can see in, but I wanted my privacy,
Right.
So I said to him, do you mind if I close the door? And he said, sure, no problem. But he was like kind of perplexed why I was wanting to close the door. So then I started speaking of my speculative investment, and he said, is that why you're here? And I said, no, I'm here to open a checking account, but while I'm here, I want to talk about this. I said, you're the branch manager, so you would know a lot more of what's going on in this location. So he said, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm new here. I'm only here a week, but I've been with Chase for over 20 years.
Okay.
So I said, well, do you know if this location has a currency authenticating and counting machine? So he, again, I'm only here a week. He said, but I can find out. And I explained extensively more currencies. And he laughed and he said to me, I feel like we're from outer space. He goes, this is unheard of. He said, I never heard of anything like this. So I said, well, it's kind of going to be like a once in a lifetime occurrence,
right,
with, numerous currencies. So I said, I'm surprised you don't know anything about this. So he says, well, I don't really deal with the front end of, exchanging currencies and such.
Gotcha.
He said, but what currencies are you talking about? So then I really got into it. And he said, well, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. He said, because I know nothing about this. But while you're doing your online questions, let me go in the back and see if we have this machine.
Okay.
So I said, okay. So with that, he comes back, machine in hand. And it's a German machine. It wasn't a Pitney Bowes or a Delarue. He said, it's not the same machine you were talking about. It's a German company. I said, I don't care who it's made by, as long as it's an authenticator and counting the currencies. That's what I'm looking for, because I am not letting my currencies out of my sight.
Very good.
So he said, okay, so he puts the machine on his desk, and he said, now, what currencies? And there were like 9 buttons on top, and then
right,
he flipped the switch, and there were another 9 buttons.
Okay.
And each button had 3 initials on it, or 2 initials.
No, 3. Yeah, 3.
Okay. So, but I wish I would have taken pictures of it.
That's okay.
So I said, well, the first one is dinar, so it would be the IQD. So he scrolls and he said, that's here. And he showed me.
Okay.
Then he says, what's the next one? So I said, it will be under VND. And he scrolled and he said, that's here too. He was so excited. So he says, and what's the next one? I said, it's Venezuela, but I forget the initials. So he Googled it, and it came up as VES.
That's right. That's the one we saw, yes.
Yes, so he said, that's not on here.
Oh, it will be.
So I said the same thing. It will be. He said, Why?
Why?
Because the buttons are already on.
I was just going to tell you, you have to look at the other buttons. There are about 4 or 3 buttons that are blank for futuristic currencies. They all have that. So he's ignorant in the sense that he just doesn't know. But continue. Then what happened? Then what happened?
So now I'm like really excited that he's got this machine, and so he said to me, well, you know, if you're talking, you're going to be with a private banker. How much are you talking? So I said, well over 50 million. So he says, wow, okay. He said, so here's what you're going to do. Because it was busy and he had quite a few people out.
Sure, yeah.
He said, when this time comes, you call me. And so I said to him, well, it's not only me, it's my brothers, it's my friends, it's my family that want to exchange, and we're all from the area, and we're looking for a bank that has such machine. So he goes, you call me personally. I will set up a private room. I will supply you with wealth managers, private bankers, and you can have it for as long as you need it.
This is wonderful. And before you go any further, you're the second person that I ask. When you talk to this bank again from New York, will you get permission from them for you to be able to give his name, his phone number, his location to others, and tell them, look, I belong. Remember, I was telling you I got friends, I got family members, and we're all going to come in and all that. Well, I also belong to a group that's got thousands of people. How do you feel about me telling them that they can get a hold of you, and then see what he says? I need his permission to do this.
Okay.
Continue with your story. So
when he said that, he said, do you have anything else you want to do or any more questions? And I said, no. I said, I came in for 2 reasons, and you answered and showed me proof of everything that I need, and I will be in touch with you when this happens. I said, and by the way, it's not if it's going to happen, it's just when it's going to happen.
Very good.
So I said, and it would be in your best interest if you take a few bucks and get yourself some dom, because then you won't have to work either. And I walked out.
Look, the next time they you talk to them, that's number one. See if we can have permission to share their location and phone number and name. Number 2, you're dealing with New York. New York is one of the powerhouses. They will do more than other banks. Find out what type of insurance they have. There is an insurance that can take it up to $3 million per account, and I think they are one of the ones who will be able to do that. Find out. You guys, you'll be my wealth management team. That means you have lawyers. That means you have investors. Give me your portfolio. Give me your packages, because they have these pamphlets. Tell them, give me your pamphlets so that I can start studying how I can invest my money in your bank.
Okay.
You're gonna have lawyers who will represent me. How many lawyers will be in my team? I don't want just one.
Right.
Will you come to my home? Will you come to my home and meet me, my friends, my lawyer, instead of me having to come to a bank?
Okay.
So I hope these are ideas that can be of help to you. I have many more questions, but let's start with these and not overwhelm them.
Yes. Okay. Beautiful. Sounds great.
No, it's a great story because you established what you wanted to do, and that is, open an account. You established a relationship with them, not in a bullish manner. You just simply explained yourself. to the point where they were impressed that you were well educated. When that man went and talked to the other man, they both turned and looked over at you. That other man
Well, that was back in September.
Okay.
This guy was the manager.
Gotcha.
And he was the branch manager, but he was newly transferred to this new, it's a new location. It's only been there since September, and that's why I went in there to open an account, because I specifically looked on their door to see if they had wealth managers and private bankers.
That's a very good point. The door, by the way, everything is on the door. That's a good point. I've taken pictures and I've shown that door to our KTFA family. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I went in there, because they had such. Because only down the block, 2 blocks away, is a small little Chase. And I was like, well, they're not opening this just to have another new location.
No, this one is.
They opened this with a specific idea in mind, and I was a little bummed out in September when the representative said to me, you know, we're only open a week. I don't think we have currency authenticating and counting machines yet. So I was a little bummed, because I'm like, well, you just opened. You should have everything at the start.
In September and October of last year, they still were not really up to par. It was around November. It was around November going into December that in my opinion, many banks found out the truth. And basically, they had to swallow their pride and tell their upper management. Remember the emails that we sent you about this being a scam?
No, well, you know, it's funny you say that.
Go ahead.
Because the first guy, the first rep, I said to him, you know, years ago, Chase and all other banks were saying, oh, it's a scam. So I turned around and said to him, well, if it's such a scam, now he didn't say this to me, this was many years ago, other banks had said this. I said, if it's such a scam they're telling people, they sold me these currencies. So how can you turn around and tell me it's a scam when I bought currencies from these banks? And how can a currency be a scam? It's a currency. A currency is not a scam.
That's what I think.
He was like, wow, you know what you're talking about.
That's what I taught. I think you probably heard my story. I went to Wells Fargo. They said it was a scam. I said, I'd like to talk to your legal department. And they said, what for? And I take a receipt out of my pocket that I had purchased dinars from them like 7-8 years prior to that. And I said, because you sold me a scam and I need to sue you. And of course, I never heard from them. They never got back with me. They're never.
Of course.
They're not going to admit it. They're going to deny it. And I left it alone because if I pursue it, they will actually kick me out. Wells Fargo removed all of Donald Trump's money in their accounts. Why? Because they listened to the far communist left of our government. They listened to Biden's people. But now Wells Fargo is saying, oh, well, okay, it's not a scam. Up yours. You're the last bank. You're the last bank. I'm going to go. In fact, it'll be a cold day. It'll be a ice cold day in the Amazon jungles before I ever come and see you.
Yeah. Well, I had gone to a Wells Fargo about a year ago with a friend of mine that also has currencies. And we sat down to open accounts. And I brought my currencies with me that day. And I said to the woman, I'd like to open up an account. And then I got into the currencies. And she said, let me show you something. And she brought up the disclaimer that they will not be dealing with the Iraqi dinar. And she said, so if this is why you're opening an account, We're not going to be dealing with it.
And then all of a sudden, that email. I know. All of a sudden, that email vanished. It became Bigfoot. All you had was the footprint evidence. But where's Bigfoot? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank goodness I took pictures of all of these emails.
Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't take a picture because she showed us her back screen. This was a disclaimer to the bank personnel.
And that's when I took the picture. They did the same thing too. So and as they turn around, they don't see me. I got my. I mean. I do what I do, and I was able to take my picture, and I'm out of there. Mm-hmm. But I don't use it for any reason. I'm not going to complain to them. I don't want them to have any problems with any banks of any kind. I will choose what banks. Just like President Trump is determining who is going to lead Iran, who is going to lead Iraq. I am going to determine who is going to touch my money. And by the way, sister, I love the part where the man he's looking at the Delaware machine. Obviously, he's new to it. and you say, I think it's IQD. And he says, that's here. It's here. It's right here. I got it. It's right here.
Yeah. He was excited when he saw it because he was really not grasping. Like he said to me, this is like something from outer space. I've never heard of anything like this. And I said, well, it's not going to be just one. And when I was leaving, he said to me, let me ask you, do you think Cuba's going to revalue their money? So I said, well, I don't know if that's going to happen now, but eventually they will too.
Cuba does not have a banking structure. Cuba does not have any assets to back up any currency. Cuba will depend on the American dollar, and it'll be determined on President Trump whether they will be able to do that. And it turned out that yesterday, Cuba finally reached out and said to Mr. Trump, we need to talk. We've got nobody. Russia can't supply us. China can't supply us. Venezuela can't supply us. We need to talk. Yes, you do. Donald Trump is also working on 3 other countries, but we may discuss those later, but not right now. I am so proud of what you have accomplished with this bank call.
Thank you.
And I thank you. So do you think that you'll be able to communicate, that you can ask those follow-up questions and see if we can give the information to our KTFA family?
Sure, I'll stop in this week coming up.
Wonderful.
And I'll speak with him, and because then I'm going to be in Florida after that.
I was so excited to talk to you. I didn't even get your name. Do I call you an initial, or do you want
me? You can call me Margaret.
Margaret it is. Thank you, Margaret.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to know.
You're very welcome. Yes.
Allow me to reach across the phone, shake your hand. Nice to meet you. And thank you.
Nice to meet you.
I'll play this recording tonight.
Oh, okay. Perfect. All right.
Take care. Aloha to you. God bless.
You too. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you very, very much, Margaret, for your desire to want to share your story. Anybody that has a bank story and you want to share it with your KTFA family, call me. My phone number is 419 283 2552. 419-283-2552. Call me. If I don't answer, leave me a message. I'll get right back with you. Your stories are valuable because they motivate people. It informs them. It gives them intel, information about banks and the relationship that they can establish. It breaks the ice. It lays a format. It gives you a ruler to follow. So, with all that said, let us say thank you for coming. God bless you all. I'll see you tomorrow at 4. And like I said, Trump doesn't Trump just doesn't want evil to rule Iran or Iraq. He doesn't want that. It really doesn't matter who rules, to be honest with you, as long as they follow the rules that we establish. God bless you all. Sweet aloha. See you mañana. Bye bye.